farewell to President Emmanuel Macron as he concluded his 2-day state visit to Ethiopia. Here is Teresa for more.
Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, and President of France, Emmanuel Macron, have held talks regarding mutual benefit of the two nations at the office of the PM. On the event, mutual agreements have been signed on improving economic status, financial support, cultural heritage preservation, national defense forces capacity building, and investment. Following the signing event, the two leaders have made a joint communique. Ethiopian Premier Dr. Abiy, in a statement, said the signed agreement was aimed to implement what the two leaders had discussed in Paris during his tour to Europe. He accentuated that the agreement is vital to succeed Ethiopia's plan of building a strong air force and maritime.
They have shown us that they have high interest to preserve Ethiopian history and the ancient civilization. They made this because of high appreciation and respect they have in this regard. My government would like to thank them. Ethiopia is in need to build a strong air force. Especially, we've agreed with government of France to work together on air and marine force. The agreement could be considered as a great accord that we made with European countries.
Dr. Abiy stressed that the agreement signed concerning investment would have a pivotal role in reducing unemployment problems and contribute to economic growth of the country.
Regarding investment support, we've agreed that France investors would invest in Ethiopia, come with new knowledge and wealth. This is a great hope to solve job-related problems. They reiterated their interest to send investors to Ethiopia, persuading them. We've discussed many issues and agreed upon.
Expressing that they had conferred on ways of cementing long-standing ties of the two countries, Prime Minister Dr. Abiy stated that the issue of future cooperation dominates the talk. President of France, Emmanuel Macron, for his part, has expressed his condolence over the deaths of citizens due to airplane crash happened in Ethiopia. He wished comfort for families of the victims. He affirmed the full support of France's government to improve Ethiopian economy and ensure peace and security. Macron added that his country will work tirelessly to strengthening more its historic ties with Ethiopia.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Premier ministre.
Ethiopia is known for its ancient civilization and history among African nations. We will make professional and financial support to conserve and preserve this history. Regarding the air and maritime forces, we will make knowledge and material support.
According to President Macron, in order to strengthen the economic ties of both countries, France Development Agency will provide 85 million euros to Ethiopia in loan and contribute 15 million euros in form of support.
Concerning economy, we are opening a new chapter. France Development Agency has decided to provide 85 million euros to Ethiopia in loan, whereas 50 million euros support the ongoing reform agenda in Ethiopia. Besides this, we are ready to support the efforts being exerted to improve the economic status of the country. Prominent business persons have come with us here to look at the existing precondition. What I want to reassure you is that you will have full support from France government in realizing your vision of building strong economy and ensuring peace and stability.
Macron said that France will work with Ethiopia cooperatively to fight terrorism in the Horn of Africa. He applauded the current remarkable progress in Ethiopia, adding his government will support Ethiopia for more success. President Macron has concluded his 2 days official visit to Ethiopia and headed to Kenya for similar cause.
Deputy Speaker of the House of People's Representatives, Mrs. Sitai Manale, yesterday received the Canadian parliamentarians who came to Ethiopia to strengthen the inter-parliamentary relations between the two countries. During the discussion, they commended the reforms undertaken in a short period of time to broaden the political space and the peaceful transition of power in the country. Mrs. Sitai, for a part, said the government's working closely with political parties for the success of the nationwide reform process. It's also responding to the socio-economic and political concerns raised by the people. The Deputy Speaker briefed the Canadian parliamentarian delegation about Ethiopia's efforts in promoting regional integration and about the Ethiopian parliaments. In a related development, Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, Shet Gabre, conferred with Canadian parliamentarians. The two parties agreed to have a joint venture between the Canadian Human Rights and Ethiopian Human Rights Commission in the promotion of human rights in the country. Ethiopia and Sudan have agreed to deploy joint forces along their border to control smuggling, illegal immigration, and cross-border crimes. The two nations signed the agreement following the conclusion of the two-day meeting held between defense ministries of the two countries in Khartoum, Sudan at the weekend. Chief of Staff of the Ethiopian Defense Force, General Sara Mokonnen, and his Sudanese counterpart, Lieutenant General Kamal Abdul Maruf Al-Mahi, signed the protocol to deploy joint troops along the border. Experts drawn from defense ministries of both countries will meet in Gadarif, Sudan, to hammer out ways to implement the protocol, to identify deployment areas, and discuss other detailed issues. General Sara Mokonnen also held talks with Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir on the sidelines of the event. President al-Bashir on the occasion said the agreement would help secure the border and ensure safety of the people living along the frontier on both sides. European Commission urged to consider removing Ethiopia from list of high-risk third countries. The government of Ethiopia has urged the European Commission to consider removing the country from the list of high-risk third countries. Fukadu Burano brings us the detail.
In a statement issued on March 13, 2019, the Prime Minister's office called upon the European Union Commission to urgently review the high-risk third countries listing. Since 2018, the new administration of the government of Ethiopia is taking important steps to effectively prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. Reaffirming its commitment to fully address this challenge, the government has introduced sweeping changes to the financial and the judicial system to respond to strategic deficiencies, especially evident due to Ethiopia's geopolitical position in the Horn. Ethiopia is vulnerable to bank frauds, cybercrime, and money laundering effectuated by transnational criminals. Therefore, the new administration of the government of Ethiopia has been strictly controlling and monitoring informal value transfer network and operations and has implemented stringent financial sanctions against perpetrators. The government has also enhanced international cooperation with the European Union and other member state countries in strengthening the competency of relevant authorities such as the Financial Intelligence Center, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Cooperation, and the Attorney General Office. The government is also increasing the reporting of suspicious transactions to relevant international bodies as needed. Bearing these activities in mind, we urge the European Commission to consider removing Ethiopia from the list of high-risk third countries, taking into account corrective measures that have been implemented, our proven commitment to combat terrorism and money laundering, and the limitations of the report in the first place. Ethiopia is cognizant of the seriousness of the European Commission report and is committed to fighting against money laundering and terrorism financing on its home front. At the same time, Ethiopia would like to challenge the report and its limitation to name jurisdictions that are directly or indirectly playing a role in fostering illegal trends by creating a safe haven for perpetrators. Investigating and calling out these countries that facilitate these corrupt pathways from Africa and other nations is a very crucial and timely task for the European Commission to undertake. Holding all wrongdoers equally accountable not only sets an example for other international institutions, but also increases the credibility of the European Commission report. Hence, we would like to call upon the European Commission to take the lead in organizing efforts to combat corruption, money laundering, and terrorism financing by taking a stand on unfair practices used by financial institutions globally. There are international efforts that are assisting African countries to recover and return stolen funds and transactions that support terrorism. However, these efforts are too early to bear meaningful results and have a long way to go. Many West Western financial centers and governments are yet to join these efforts. The Ethiopian government would like to express its commitment to work with the European Commission in being vigilant to uphold the integrity of our financial systems. We also call upon the European Commission to call out, monitor, and hold accountable various jurisdictions that have immensely significant economic ties with the European Commission and with potentially negative systematic efforts on our global financial systems.
The newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Ethiopia to Egypt, Dina Mufti, yesterday presented his credentials to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Ambassador Dina, on the occasion, assured the Egyptian president that he will make rigorous efforts to further elevate the century-old ties existed between the two countries. President al-Sisi extended his condolences to the people and government of Ethiopia, as well as the families of the victims of the Ethiopian Airlines flight ET-302 accident, highlighting that cooperation is the key for the development and prosperity of the two nations. The president pledged to offer the necessary support to the Ethiopian envoy during his tenure as ambassador to Egypt. Ambassador Dina is also a non-resident ambassador to Libya, Jordan, and Lebanon. The Oromia Population and Housing Census Commission announced that preparations have been finalized for the upcoming national census. The commission has briefed media on the issue. Olkaba Wondemo brings us the detail.
Secretary of the Oromia Population and Housing Census Commission, Sheko Guru, while briefing media, announced that preparations have been completed for the upcoming national census, adding that many workers have been underway to facilitate the census. We have completed the overall activities and map schedule for the census. The map will help us to deploy the workers. It will also help us to facilitate all the necessary equipment for the upcoming census. The commission will be headed by Vice President of the region. Many committees have also established to facilitate the census. The commission is also offering trainings for the participants of the census and all the concerned bodies. The commissioner also called upon the public to play their part and support the census work in all they can. Head of the Oromia Communication Affairs Bureau, Admasu Damto, for his part, underscored that the census should be implemented with great attention, adding that the regional government is working with this full effort in succeeding the upcoming census. Admasu also assured that the peace and stability of the region has been registering good progress, and this will help the census for its overall activities. As per our recent information, the census will take place in all of our regional states. We'll work on this and strengthen our attachments with media to give any updates if there is. It is also said that in the upcoming fourth national population and housing census, 50% of professionals will be from education sector, 25% from agricultural sector, whereas 25% from health sectors.
That brings us to the end for this news edition. Thank you for watching and have a nice time with the remaining OBN's programs.